it's going to be much harder to get what is valuable to you, to achieve what is valuable to you, if you do not follow this condition. And that condition is that you ruthlessly eliminate everything else. And in order to do that, step number one is you have to define what is that things which are actually valuable to you. What are the activity values that you hold? Meaning, if you were to look from your deathbed, what are those things that you would genuinely find valuable, that you would genuinely find meaningful, that you would genuinely find that it added to your life? What are those activities? Could be spending time with family, spending time with friends, making progress and entering flow states, making huge progress on your business, on your academics, on your career. Maybe it is just hanging around joking. Maybe it is having meaningful conversations with your friends about the topics that you care about the most. What are those activity values? Maybe it is learning. Could be any of those things, but it is different for person to person. Now, when you have that defined, when you have it defined about the things that you genuinely care about, that you genuinely value, at least of right now, the next step is what are everything else that you're doing. Your time, your energy, your attention, the possessions that you have, things that you own, things that you could throw out, things that you end up spending time in. And you can divide these things into two categories. You can divide step two into two categories. And one, which are things which are kind of necessary, right? Things like you parking, you commuting to your work or school, things like you preparing and eating food. Some of those things you cannot avoid, but even when you can restrict it when it's possible. And the second thing is the unnecessary stuff. First thing is kind of necessary. The second part of the second step is the unnecessary things. Things like streaming, YouTube, television, Netflix, gaming, video games. Maybe in it's there is a bit of things like the news. You think that reading newspapers, watching the news will be valuable to you. It's a productive habit to do. You are not in a position where you can do anything about the news. I am not in a position where I can do anything about the news. We are not in a. Listen to me. In order to have an impact on whatever you see in the news, you need to make money, you need to build an audience, or you need to maybe go into politics. You need to become better than where you are right now. And if you are a young audience member, you have you have much more potential than the people in your classroom, than the people in your own family probably. And this is like, it's common sense, but when you hear it, it's kind of revolutionary a little bit, because these things you don't give a shit about. But then for some reason or the other, because it's fun or because it's just how things have always been, you are putting so much time, energy, and attention into these activities. And the cost is not just the time and energy that goes into this, is the cognitive load. When you decrease, there are two things, right? And I'm just explaining it to you as it was explained to me by people who are like experts in the field. There are two things that you can do in order to increase your flow, and that is to increase your flow triggers. And flow is just a state of insane focus, and that you can do by increasing your flow triggers, which are things like, I don't know, a good night's sleep, things like risk, things like your instant feedback. There are so many factors that go into having good focus states, a balance between your skill and the challenge. And you can do the second step is by decreasing your cognitive load, decreasing the amount of things that occupy your mind. Every single possession that you have just occupies 0.01% of your cognitive load. This is the RAM that you can use up in order to make progress on the things that matters to you. And you everything that you the activities that you partake in, the things that you do, it's using up this RAM. It's using up the time and energy that you could be using in the activities. But not only that, it is taking up your cognitive load. And you will notice this when you declutter, when you eliminate, when you remove a lot of this, and you know you can put a lot more into the things which actually matter to you, because all of this stuff is in that. Another point that I want to make, is that by eliminating and outsourcing the tasks which are much better done not by the human mind, because the human mind is meant for certain things, like creativity, for like going into flow states, like navigating opportunities. There are certain things that only a human mind can do, and I just use the example of creativity here. And there are certain things that you can just outsource to machines, and this things like what to wear today. And I just try to make the point here is that these decisions take up cognitive space. The micro decisions keep taking up your cognitive space. So another thing that you can do in order to decrease your cognitive load is to know exactly what to do. Maybe in the morning you have a certain routine that you kind of want to do, the optimal morning routine. Just write that down step after step after step after step, so that you know exactly what to do. You can forget about making the decision. Maybe every time you want to make a decision, see if you can fixate a rule in your own life which you can apply, so that you only have to make the decision once, and after that it scales infinitely and has the potential to scale infinitely to how many ever times you want to apply it in your life. And all of the things that I told you are just things that I learned and things that I am trying to implement in my own life. And here's how I have tried to implement this in my own life. I just try to clean my room a little bit, even though that is a huge amount of stuff that I need to dispose. And the thing is, it's actually not my room, nor it is my stuff. So it's a very hard and complicated family thing to do. I decided that I do not want to play hand cricket. I decided that no, because already things like the streaming, the television, the video games, I'm probably better than you, because I have eliminated them, bro. I have removed them. I have taken on the journey to eliminate them, and that has resulted me in having more of my being, in having the capacity to dedicate more of my being towards the things that matter to me. I decided that a lot of the conversations, a lot of me trying to talk to my friends, I don't actually like a lot of the people that I talk with. And they do not like me very much either, but then we just joke around and have this conversation that I find no value, that do not add value to my life. That's how you achieve freedom and you unlock freedom in certain aspects of your life by restricting freedom in the other aspects of your life. This is liberation through elimination, and I know that you will struggle to have the drive, the willpower, and like the purpose in order to actually go through with this. And it's a lot easier to have this if your life is pretty shit and you hate how your life is right now. But what if you are actually kind of comfortable where you are? Maybe you had some growth before, maybe you don't, but you kind of got comfortable with where you are in life, but then you want to do more, you want to go further, but then you just don't have that drive. And when you don't have that drive, what happens is it becomes a lot harder when your purpose, like when you don't have a purpose, in order to just cut down on some of these things in order to take this action. But when you unlock that purpose, or at least a little bit more of it, this everything that I said in this video becomes slightly easier to do. So click on this video where I talk about how to want more when you're comfortable, and I'll see you there.